In this video, we're going to be talking about 5 wide receivers that the experts are drafting way ahead of ADP, and we want to take advantage of that. I'm Ron from Never Lucky. We know ball, we just have zero luck here. Yesterday, we covered running backs that the experts are drafting way ahead of ADP. You guys can go check that video out. Thank you to everyone who showed support, showed love, all the kind words, man. I really appreciate the love and support. Let's get into this video first, quickly with the research. So I mentioned most of it in the last video. I went to NFC ADP, which is like high stakes leagues, a lot of money. These are like the sharps, these are the experts, how they draft. I grabbed the ADP there, and then I grabbed all the ADPs from all the different platforms, and then I compared them. I find the difference where the players are being drafted way ahead compared to the experts. And then we can find values. We can find players that we really love. So in this video, we're going to be talking about 5 wide receivers, as I mentioned. And the first name on this list is Cedric Tillman. Currently going 143 on NFC ADP, 168 on ESPN, 189 on Sleeper, and 315 on NFL. Bro, there's a trend on NFL. All these guys are always going so much later. I've talked about Cedric Tillman a lot in this offseason, and his value has stayed the same. In weeks 7 to 11 last year, that's like the relevant time where Cedric Tillman actually did some stuff for us. 10 targets per game, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns on a 17-game pace. 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. He moved into a different role. He was now playing the X outside wide receiver role after Amari Cooper got traded. And he was very effective. Matt Harmon does reception perception where he analyzes wide receivers. Cedric Tillman was really good across the board, especially slants, 83%, 77% on digs, 70% versus man. Very good, legit starter metrics. Nothing, no red flags across the board. Over 70% on all routes. The story for Cedric Tillman's season was that he was really misused early season. They were using him out of the slot 43% of the time. And then they shifted him to that X receiver role, as I mentioned. 73% of his routes were then on the outside. He had that massive 4-game stretch. 18, 28, 19, 7 fantasy points. Then he gets a concussion out for the season. Now, here's the situation for the Browns. They're going to be a bad team. They're not going to be able to run the ball because they have a very bad O-line. They have a very bad defense. They have a weird running back situation with a dude who might get arrested because I think he like kicked his girlfriend in the chest. So luckily, we get 62-year-old AARP Joe Flacco. He's old as shit, but he's going to be starting the season. And he, believe it or not, he's actually the best option that they have, especially for fantasy football. It's downhill after he gets benched, bro. We all know what's going to happen. They're going to be 0-4. You know, Cleveland Browns fans are going to be doing like hunger strikes and like Bud Light strikes again. And then they're going to put in one of the 4 Daniel Jones players that they have. You know, all 4 of them are pretty much bad. Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I think I am like the 5th stringer there. They're down bad at quarterback, and it's going to be downhill after that, but I think Cedric Tillman's still going to have value. They're still going to be launching the ball. Whoever's the quarterback, they're going to be throwing a lot. I just love his value. You know, he's going a lot earlier according to the experts, and I love taking him at the end of drafts. And the next pair on this list is Keenan Allen. That is not a mistype. That is not a typo. Keenan Allen's actually a decent draft pick in 2025, man. 119 ADP on NFC, 124 on ESPN, not a crazy value. 186 on Sleeper, so that's a big time value. That's 67 spots. And then 246 on NFL. NFL doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, dude. If you're drafting an NFL, I don't know, man. You got to be like a Bangladeshi bot or something. But Keenan Allen is 33. He was actually good in 2024 with Chicago. 70 receptions, 744 yards, 7 touchdowns in only 15 games. He was decent. You know, he still looked good. If you watch the tape, he didn't look bad. His only competition now with the Chargers, which, you know, he's back on the Chargers, back, you know, paired with Justin Herbert yet again. Ladd McConkey's the only real bona fide guy. He's going to be the main guy. Don't get me wrong. But then it's like Quentin Johnston, who he's always injured or bad, and he's got small hands. And then it's Trey Harris, who I fucking love. He's one of my favorite draft picks. Don't get me wrong. And then this dude, KLS, Kembert Landrick Smith, Ibrahim Moises. I don't know his full name. I don't actually think I even know his real name. I just know he goes by KLS. He's been making plays in the preseason. Now, Keenan Allen's going to be this week 1 starter. Let's be honest. He's going to have a sizable target share. He's got name recognition. I expect him to actually be pretty annoying if you're a Ladd McConkey owner, because you're drafting Ladd in like the 2nd round. You're expecting him to be like a wide receiver 1. He's going to be annoying, but I think he's going to fade as the season goes on. So just keep in mind, if you're drafting Keenan Allen at the end of your drafts, he's going to be pretty solid for us. He could be a mainstay the whole season, right? If he still looks good and looks fresh. I just think there's a chance that they're going to want to see what they have in the younger guys, like Trey Harris, who I really love. And lastly, he has a really good quarterback situation. Justin Herbert, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. This team should be a good offense. They're going to want to run the ball first, and don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a good offense. Justin Herbert, there's going to be points to go around. I can imagine Keenan Allen bringing us some decent, like, wide receiver 40 production or something like that. So Keenan Allen's actually a good pick. And, you know, upside case is that if he performs well early on, trade his old ass, dude. Trade him, try to shop him to your league. so that, some other sucker can be holding this, 39-year-old wide receiver. And now we move to the next player, which is Emeka Egbuka. I think he goes by Ebuka. 65th ADP on NFC ADP, so very high. He's going to like the 5th plus round. And then in ESPN, he's going 120, sleeper 101. And then NFL 155. Bro, just for NFL, they're always like 100 picks later. I don't know who the fuck they're drafting. Or Chris Godwin is behind schedule. His ankle is looking thick as hell in that one picture that they posted, like team portraits. Ebuka has been impressing in camp, but he's making plays all over the place. He caught a touchdown in the preseason. He only had one catch for a touchdown. Ohio State record holder, Ebuka, in receptions and receiving yards, which is, actually a pretty fantastic and impressive feat, because Ohio State just produces good wide receivers like it's going out of business. And Ebuka is going to slot into that Chris Godwin big slot role. He's going to be the wide receiver 2 for this team. Jalen McMillan sprained his neck, so he's going to be out for fucking maybe forever. Like, it's possible Jalen McMillan doesn't play again this season. And Baker Mayfield on a recent podcast said that Emeka Egbuka is an absolute stud. He's the real deal. Listen, I know you're going to gas up your teammates. You're going to talk high about your teammates regardless, but you still have to see it, bro. If a report comes out in the next couple days that Baker Mayfield and Ebuka shared a breakfast, they've been sitting together in the cafeteria like Cup and Stafford were, I'm going to sell my house, dude. I don't even own the house I live in. I'm going to sell my landlord's house illegally on the black market so that I can buy more shares of Ebuka. It's one of my favorite like wide receiver 3s to have, or wide receiver 4s even. If you can get him as late as possible, I love having him on my team. And the next player is Marvin Mims, who's a little bit more inconsistent wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. Currently going 123. And then on ESPN, 171, on Sleeper, 148, and NFL, 171. He averaged 62 yards per game from weeks 11 onward. He was very involved the second half of the season. He led the NFL in yards per route run at 3.63 and 28% target rate per route on the year, bro. The problem with Marvin Mims is that he couldn't see the field. His snap share was so fucking low the entire season. This team, the coaching staff, Sean Payton was always saying all year, bro, like, we were trying to get Marvin Mims onto the field. We were trying to get him more involved. He's a fantastic player. He's so explosive, so dynamic. It's like, brother, it is in your hands. You can put him on the field more. You are the head coach, you fucking troll. But anyway, as the year went on, he was a really big play guy. Top 15 in multiple advanced metrics, efficiency metrics. I expect him to be the wide receiver 2 behind Sutton, at least to start the season. And the reason I think that is that in the preseason, in week 1, I know it's only the preseason, but he played in 100% of the snaps in wide receiver 2 sets alongside Sutton. But he seems to be a full-time player. At least that's what preseason showed us. You just never know with Sean Payton. The guy will put in Audric Estime at fucking wide receiver or something, man. But I want to show you guys this quick little chart. It's wide receiver current ADP against their snap share from the year before. So we see Marvin Mims down here alone, close to the y-axis. He played about 25% of snaps, and he's going in like the 135s. That's not ideal. He's going a little bit early. I wish he was still in like the 160s. But it's a good chart just to see like who's on the field versus how they're being drafted. Marvin Mims is somebody that I really love, especially in best ball. If you're in redraft, just keep in mind he could be a very boom or bust player. But the next player is somebody that I really loved at the beginning of the offseason, but every day that passes, I start to cry myself to sleep because his value is just dropping. And I'm viewing him also a little bit less highly than I used to. But it is Josh Downs, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. He is going at 89. Keep in mind, this data is a couple days old. Daniel Jones got named the starter. I haven't updated this data since then, but I think we can essentially move everything up like 10 or 12 picks. So 89 on NFC ADP, 133 on ESPN, 104 on Sleeper, and 137 on NFL. Across the board, decent value. I think just shift everything up 10 because he's going a little later on NFC, I imagine, probably in like 95 to 100. But last season, he was top 10 in 2 very important metrics. Targets per route run, he was 27.5%, and he had a 2.2% yards per route run, better than Amon-Ra St. Brown, and contending with a guy like Puka Nacua, which is super fucking impressive. Josh Downs is a fantastic wide receiver. Matt Harmon, he does his reception perception every single season. He just looks at the route success of wide receivers, and then he gives these grades. Josh Downs had a 76.7%, which is 90th percentile against man, 92nd percentile against zone, and 82nd percentile against press. Across the board, he's an elite wide receiver, just from a pound-for-pound skill point of view. Now, here's the situation with the Colts. The reason I'm a little bit down on him, Daniel Jones was named the starter. That's either going to be very good or very bad for us. I guess we're going to know like 2 quarters into the season just how fucking trash Daniel Jones is. Long neck ass Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones is trash and it's Anthony Richardson comes in, I think they're going to give him another shot. I hope they do. And if Anthony Richardson is equally bad or worse, just uninstall, fire up Warzone, get the squad, let's drop into Verdansk. Fuck fantasy football. I have so many shares of Josh Downs. My season is over if Josh Downs doesn't pan out. That's why you wait until week 4 to fucking draft, I guess. But the Colts have a pretty nice wide receiver schedule, which is, they're going to need all the help they can get with this quarterback situation that the Colts have. Essentially, this franchise has been in shambles since Andrew Luck spontaneously retired, man. It's like this team is cursed. They just can't figure out their quarterback. I think they're going to improve on their 2024 scoring. They really struggled to score the ball. I think they're going to be slightly better this year. Jonathan Taylor is fully healthy, no offseason issues. Michael Pittman is now healthy. He had a back issue. Josh Downs, another year of just getting a little bit better. I think they're going to be a better offense. And I still like Josh Downs as a value. I love him as like my wide receiver 4 if I can get him as my 4th guy. He's one of my favorite targets later. That is the list, my friends. 5 wide receivers who the experts are taking way ahead of us casuals, way ahead on ADP. Get that extra edge against your teammates. Start drafting like an expert. I think it's the best way to start to improve in our home leagues. And if you want another extra edge, man, if you're looking for a little more help, some more resources to help you draft, I put a lot of research, a lot of effort into this NFC ADP list. I have my rankings, which also comes from that research. I have my O-line report where I looked at a bunch of different publications, consolidated them into an O-line rankings, my fades, my in-season resources to help you guys with waiver pickups, trades, all that types of stuff. Any of your questions about fantasy, it's all available, man. $5 on Patreon, dude. That's like the cost of 3 eggs in the United States at the moment, dude. I'll pour one out for you guys over here in Germany. So if you want to support a creator, dude, instead of giving your money to like CBS or fucking Disney or all these like corporate fantasy publications nowadays, you want to support someone like myself, just trying to make good content for you guys, man. I'd really appreciate it. And tomorrow we're going to be doing the how you should be drafting from picks 1 to 4. Fucking draft season's upon us, man. People are having drafts this weekend, next weekend, through the next couple weeks. So stay tuned for that tomorrow, guys. I will see you guys then. Peace.